Very happy. I'm very happy to see my boy Kelvin Johnson, aka Megatron, the greatest Decepticon of all time, in the Hall of Fame in his first try at the age of 35 years of age. And I know there's going to be people who are saying, well, why in the hell did Megatron doesn't have the stats to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that there were other players that were deserving, and there were other players that had to wait for 40, 50 plus years. Some people that are still waiting for 60, 70 plus years waiting to get into the Hall of Fame. Why in the hell did Kelvin Johnson get in? Well, I will tell you why Kelvin Johnson deserved to get into the damn Hall of Fame and why I was happy and damn near almost in tears watching that man Kelvin Johnson get inducted. Because for the majority of his entire career with the Detroit Lions, that man went through hell. The Detroit Lions as an organization is a fucking killer when it comes to the amount of great talent that has come through Detroit. You look at guys like Barry Sanders. Look at guys like Barry Sanders, take for example, a guy that played 10 years into the league and now ultimately could have played at least 2 or 3 more years in the league. The guy that retired in his prime in Detroit because he wasn't happy playing there anymore. Barry Sanders, for the 10 years that he played in the league, had over 1,000 yards in every single season that he played, the only running back to do it. And again, he should have been the NFL career-leading rusher in the NFL. He should have broke Walter Payton's record. He could have easily broke it and could have went beyond. But he retired because, again, he was not happy playing for the Detroit Lions. I don't care what Barry says. He was not happy there. How can you be happy there when you don't have an offensive line? You have an organization that does not want to surround Barry Sanders with enough talent, so he decided to go. Kelvin Johnson was one of these was another first ballot Hall of Famer. And again, there's not a lot of teams that have first ballot Hall of Famers. Kelvin Johnson was another one of those players. A guy that is a freak among freaks. And no, Randy Moss is a freak, but he is not the freak among freaks. He is not a Decepticon. Kelvin Johnson is 6'5", 240 pounds, that ran a 4.35 at the NFL Scouting Combine. One of the freakiest wide receivers you're ever going to see, if not the freakiest. The LeBron James of the receiving position. And for his entire career with the Detroit Lions, all that talent was wasted there. Only 2 playoff appearances in his career. And it's very funny that the first time he played in the playoffs, Kelvin Johnson dominated in 2013 with over 200 yards against the Saints. Look at the quarterbacks that Kelvin Johnson had to play with throughout his career. For anyone who's arguing, well, Kelvin Johnson, he does not have the stats to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He played with Kitna. Dan Orlovsky, and old Dante Pepper. Those were his quarterbacks before he got Matthew Stafford. And even with Matthew Stafford, the Detroit Lions were still producing 4-12, 5-11, 6-10 seasons. They only made the playoffs twice under his regimen. Not to mention, every single cornerback was trying to take out his ankle, trying to take out his knees because Kelvin Johnson was too damn big for anybody to guard. No one could stop Kelvin Johnson. No one could. You could throw up a jump ball, and Kelvin Johnson, in front of 3 or 4 dudes, was going to come down with it. You can hit him on a stride and a slant, and Kelvin Johnson can take it 80 yards against the house against you in a blink of an eye. He was a phenomenal run blocker. Easily could have played at the tight end position, and could have been pancaking defensive linemen, for God's sakes. I'm stuttering there because I'm lost for words. I'm all over the place with this, but I don't care. Kelvin Johnson was the best wide receiver I have ever seen. As far as talent-wise. Talent-wise, there is no one. And I mean absolutely no one. Unless he's 6'8", 250 pounds that can run a 4.3. Oh, wait, that guy's in Cleveland. Or I'm sorry, he used to play with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's with the LA Lakers, LeBron James. Kelvin Johnson, at the age of 35, deserved to go into the Hall of Fame. Any hardcore football fan knows that Kelvin Johnson absolutely deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And and I understand there's going to be some people pissed off. Well, if Terrell Owens had to wait all these years, then Calvin Johnson should have waited too. Calvin Johnson played for the Detroit Lions. That's all that needs to be said to end that argument. Calvin Johnson, Megatron, aka the greatest Decepticon of all time, the leader of the Decepticons, played for the Detroit Lions. And even Megatron was heavily defeated, not only by injuries, but he was defeated by the organization. It was amazing to me because Calvin Johnson signed a mega contract and he retired. He left, $30 or $40 million on the table because he couldn't, because number one, of injuries. And injuries definitely played a heavily factor into his career. But I truly do believe that if Calvin Johnson would have played for the New Orleans Saints, or if Calvin Johnson would have played for the Green Bay Packers, to this day, I truly do believe that Calvin Johnson would have played through it. He would have toughed the fuck up. And Calvin Johnson he would have played through those injuries, because I believe that his enjoyment of the game, his enjoyment of playing with top-notch competition and competing for championships, I think that just the competitor in Calvin Johnson and with the work ethic he established, again, he would have fought through it. But because he was in Detroit, just like how Barry Sanders was banged up with the Detroit Lions, but he was still in his prime, was still good enough to get you 1,000. They both retired early because of the organization, how unhappy they were, how they were treated like absolute shit. Their needs, their voices didn't mean a damn thing for 10 plus years. And once again, even though this is a great moment for the Lions because you have another first ballot Hall of Famer, you look at guys like Barry Sanders, you look at guys like Calvin Johnson, even your number one overall draft pick who they had to ship out in Matthew Stafford. 3 guys with immense amount of talent, guys with elite pro level talent. And all 3 of them are gone from your organization because of how shit your management and how shit your front office was for all those years. Calvin Johnson deserved to be in the Hall of Fame with his first try. Calvin Johnson was, and probably still is to this day, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the modern day era. You can put Julio Jones or Antonio Brown in that discussion. That's fine. We can we can have a debate for another time. But growing up, Calvin Johnson was the best receiver for me. And I watched guys like Terrell Owens and Randy Moss probably the later part of the years of their career. But again, Calvin Johnson was a freak among freaks. He was truly a Decepticon. He was truly Megatron.